There it goes. And, oh, yeah, bam.
Hey, what's up? I'm Rob Wilson, and you're tuned in to the Break It Down Show.
Yeah, I love it. We were talking about Mike Hass earlier, and I think that's the best spot to open for a guy wearing a beef sweatshirt.
Please, man. I can talk about Mike Hass all night if you wanted to, really.
Tell us who Mike Hass is. Tell Mike Hass's kids. Yes, the wide receiver. That's a good call.
I know Mike Hass is, dude.
There we go. Okay, we got a Mike Hass fan club around here. This is great. Mm-hmm. So Mike Hass, Jesuit High School, state of Oregon, walk on to Oregon State. He cut his chops a little bit at freshman year, just trying to learn how to run better routes. And then around the 2003, 2004 years, he really took off. But he won the Fred Biletnikoff in 2005. And it's funny enough, Oregon State does have two Freddie B winners. One of them happens to be Brandon Cooks, who was a pretty good NFL player. And then there's Mike Hass, who won it in 2005. And the 2005 team was not any good. Matt Moore was throwing him balls in 2005. So Mike Hass is an anomaly for sure. Walk-on guys do not win the Freddie B very often. He's a white guy. And then he didn't do anything in the NFL because he was a little bit slower. But you know what? If you throw the ball anywhere Mike's way, he was going to catch it. The old saying for Oregon State fans was just throw it to Hass. He's up there somewhere. He's going to get it. He was one of my favorites. I don't know if you guys have heard the Mike Hass rap song that some random guys in Portland made, but if you look him up on YouTube, it's one of the catchier rap songs you can listen to, and I'm not a rap song guy at all. So the Mike Hass tune is a frequent listener for me.
That was in your top Spotify listens this year? Yeah,
since 2006, yeah.
10 million spins.
Yeah, pretty much.
Rob was watching it 10 million times.
How many guys go from walk-on to Hall of Fame, level, even in college level? I mean, that's just remarkable. And then has no ability to play in the NFL. Was it his ability, or was the NFL's inability to put him to work? Would you say?
That's the golden question, right? I think it's really his 40 time was just nothing to write home about. But again, in college, it didn't matter if he was covered. He was going to find a way to come down with a ball. I just don't think anybody liked his separation ability. He couldn't get open, and that's what you want in the NFL, right? That's what sticks out to a lot of scouts, I would think. But again, it was just throw it to Hass. He's going to get it somehow. And if you watch his highlight film, he tips balls to himself. He does a lot of crazy things. And it's funny, I host with my friend Josh, Chainsaw Crew, which is an Oregon State football podcast. And we had Mike on about a year, maybe 2 years ago. And if you just saw this guy walking down the street, you would never, ever guess that he is in the NCAA Football Hall of Fame. He just looks like an engineer because he is one. And he's just living a regular life. His kids don't believe that he was good. He just got honored into the Oregon State Hall of Fame a few years ago as well, and he gets to go on the field. And his dad and his wife were like, "Oh, you really were that good. That's pretty cool." It's just crazy how his life has just kind of come to what it is.
Yeah, it's funny. Well, either way, it's pretty incredible to have that. And Oregon State will always love that guy. He can always go and get a free steak dinner whenever he wants. If he goes out
100%.
To the joint. Yeah,
he got drafted by the Saints, right? He was like a 78 on Madden.
That feels about right. Yeah, I mean, shoot, he was with the Bears at first, and he got cut pretty quick to the Saints. Got cut pretty quick there too. So, yeah, not a very long NFL career.
I remember him being good on Madden.
That's all that really matters in life, right? If you're good on Madden.
That's what the kids care about these days anyway.
What's my rating? Exactly.
What's your 2K rating? What's your just show rating? It's all about ratings.
Exactly.
Like I remember playing Madden, I want to say like 13 with like Ryan Swope.
Dude.
Who had concussion issues.
Yes.
Catch everything.
Mm-hmm. See? Every school's got that one guy you're like, I wish he played in the NFL,
Yeah. Yeah. Was he fast with the ball? I mean, Jerry Rice wasn't terribly fast. He wasn't known for having a fast 40 time, but
he didn't really run away from anybody. I think he had a great stiff arm. I know that. He could get a few yak, but for the most part, no, it was really just go up and get it, throw it to Mike somewhere. And Derek Anderson and Matt Moore threw him the ball. And I think Mike is a big reason why Derek and Matt got their shot in the NFL because he racked up a ton of yards for those guys. But yeah. No one wants to give any credit to Mike, except for the Fred Biletnikoff voters, of course.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
My buddy played for UW, was a national champion. He was a walk-on. He was a kicker and a defensive back. And his kid is now today a kicker. and he actually just transferred up to UW. His name's Hunter Green, Hunter the
Hmm.
punter. His dad passed away. He had ALS. But Hunter's going to be up there, and all I want to do is see 3 and out from his team, because I just want to see Hunter kicking the fuck out of the ball.
Right.
Because that dude's got a thunderfoot. He can kick field goals and punts, and I hope to see. It's so hard in the kicking game because it's just not that many jobs, and you just can't make too many mistakes. Otherwise, you're going to leave the league. But I had to mention him because, god damn, he kicks the shit out of the ball. I mean,
That's
67-yard punts all the time. But there's a lot of dudes, not a lot. There are enough dudes like that it makes it competitive to get a gig in the at the next level.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
if you're good, you're never going to be out of a job like the Shane Lechlers of the world who are in there until they're pretty much 50.
as a Raider fan, absolutely, man. He was one of the better players of my childhood.
Yeah.
He got to be doing it a lot.
Well, even back then, like even before that, the Barr brothers, you didn't necessarily need Chris or Matt Barr. I think that's what their names. But if you needed a 35-yard field goal or in, they weren't missing it. And so they always had jobs because not everybody could do that. And but you couldn't ask them to give a 50-yarder. That was not that era. But back then, they were solid and good and always had work. And I would say Hunter's probably a better kicker than both those dudes. But those guys played forever.
I mean, as a kicker, look at Vinatieri. He made a very long career out of just banging field goals his whole life. I mean, kicking is a very undervalued thing about football too, especially punting. And I'm a big Pat McAfee guy. I know he loves to bring it for his brand, but they don't get enough love. They don't get enough respect. And again, Oregon State, if you guys watched any lick of Oregon State football this last season, special teams was an absolute joke. They were the worst special teams unit in the country. So they couldn't even get off punts before they got blocked. It was ridiculous. So it's extremely undervalued. Extremely.
I'm more used to watching a inept offense because I'm in Iowa alma mater. So I called them Iowa for the longest time because there's no offense.
Yeah, you got to cheer for the punts. That's the best part.
Oh, yeah. Punts and defense. It's all,
exactly.
all that
Score on
matters.
D. Score on D.
Yeah. They had more points on defense than they did on offense a couple years back.
I remember that. Yeah, it was hilarious.
Oh, God, it was so bad.
Yeah.
When I think about kickers, and you mentioned Vinatieri, I picture that ball just disappearing into the snow and being dead straight right through the. And that's what made Vinatieri great. You could drop a safe on his head. He'd kick a 50-yard field goal in the clutch. He didn't care. It was awesome. And to have that's like having Mariano Rivera in your bullpen. Just knowing that, hey, we got close enough. Adam's going to take care of us.
Good special teams is roughly equivalent to a good bullpen in baseball.
That's a great comparison. It really is. Yeah.
And if you mess up once, you're gone.
Yeah, that's a really good comparison. I never really thought about it that way either. That's a very good way to compare the two things because, I mean, special teams is also kind of like officiating. You only notice it when it's really bad. You know, it's just kind of one of those things.
Being a Mets fan, you notice when the bullpen's bad.
Exactly. And when it's the sixth inning and there's a guy on, and the inherited runners really start to add up pretty quick.
Yes.
Yeah. Should we talk some baseball?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's on your mind right now? You've been watching close. You got your. Is everybody? One of the reasons why Rob is on, he's got this new podcast about the A's called. It's all green. What is it? Bet on green. What is
all on green? Yeah, like we're playing roulette.
All on green.
Yeah.
Tell us about all on green. Tell us about the A's.
Yeah, man. So with the House Always Wins Media Network, shout out to Booney starting this new network for the A's fans really to listen to, because with the A's currently, obviously, a lot of people understand that it's a really weird situation right now for A's fans and A's baseball in general, just because of the transition from Oakland to Vegas. And currently they're playing an odd little stadium situation in West Sacramento. But right now is a good opportunity for a lot of these new Las Vegas folks who want to be interested in the A's to hop on and get on All on Green, because my friend Andrew and I, who have been best friends since high school, so that's 2010 for me, we know everything and everything about the A's. Anything you want to know, ask. Even if you don't care, I'm going to tell you. We're nuts about the A's. And we're starting to lose that a little bit with this fan base, which is a little bit of a sad thing, because the A's fan base in Oakland was so great, very passionate. We just didn't show up to games very often. That's why we're in the situation that we're in. But what we do on All on Green is we like to just break it down series by series. We want to give player critique, player praise. We're going to do some gambling props. We're going to talk about that on this upcoming show this week on Wednesday night. So if you guys want to tune in, man, go ahead and find us, the House Always Wins Media Network. Anywhere you get podcast on YouTube. It's very new. It's very fresh. It's a baby, but we're going to grow this thing and try to go as far as we possibly can. And it is it's been really fun so far. Booney is the man. I know Pete's pretty close with him, so Booney's been great so far. He does all the background stuff, and it's been awesome, man. I'm super excited to talk baseball with a great friend of mine all season long, and we're going to try to bring as much knowledge, and hopefully you're going to grow this fan base as much as we can and bring back some more positive light to the A's, because I know a lot of people see it all the time. The sell stuff is just, it's overbearing. It's so much, and there's only so much you can do as a fan base, but we're moving on, and I'm going to love this team no matter what, no matter where they play. I'm going to love them, root on for them, and I'll be right there next to them the entire time. So, yeah.
I mean, you got an easy team to love right now. All those young guns.
The future is bright. The future is bright, 100%. And of course, the lockout's probably going to kill that momentum. But
well, as long as we don't get to the point of a strike,
yeah,
that's what I worry about.
Yeah, fingers are crossed that the league will figure that whole thing out. But I try not to focus on it too much. It's in the back of your head the entire time.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Yeah, but you're right, though. The A's have a great young future ahead. Leo DeVries recently just got moved back down to minor league camp, and he was electric this spring. He was a part of that Mason Miller trade last season, along with JP Sears being sent to San Diego. And that's going to be a trade that will forever be debated about, because Mason Miller is an elite reliever, just back-end guy. Since September last year, I don't think anybody's gotten a hit off of him, and that includes the World Baseball Classic. It's just, he's been insane. And when you top 102, it's hard to hit anybody that way, especially when they're on their game. But again, he's just a reliever, and he's going to be a ninth inning guy for San Diego. Leo DeVries is 19 years old, one of the best prospects in the game currently. It's going to be debated forever if that trade was really worth it for San Diego. Me personally, you don't need a closer for the A's when you're down 6-3 in the ninth. You don't need him. From that, we need to get bulked up everywhere else, right? So, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that move. If you could pick up a premium MLB grade top 5 prospect, even if that person flashes out, yeah, it's a reliever. You can find a closer. You don't have to have Mason Miller to close games. You can have 10 dudes in 10 years and get the job done good enough. So I think it was a great move for both teams. It's kind of funny. Suarez was fantastic for the Padres, and they went out and got Mason. And so, look, they've got numbers. They're not dummies over there, but it seemed like, you got your plate full of pork chops, and someone brought more pork chops to the plate. Like, I can't eat all this meat right now.
Right.
Yeah, not gonna say no, but also, goddamn, how about something else?
Right. No, that's a very good point too. And last year when we saw Mason go over to San Diego, his first couple of outings were in the 8th inning, and Andrew and I, my co-host for All on Green, are just kind of laughing. We're like, did we really just get the 4th best prospect in baseball for a setup man? Like, this is.
Yeah.
It's just, it's insane that San Diego wanted to pull that move. But again, like we were just talking about earlier, bullpens are so important in today's baseball. And when you have that back end, it feels like a 2-run lead is like a 6-run lead. You're just not going to touch those guys. So I get it right now for San Diego 100%. And they need to be solid in that back end with a division that's so stacked with LA in it. But their future is in question from now on.
It's a costly one.
Yeah,
San Diego shortstops.
That too. And yeah, man, so far what we've seen from Leo, he's just been a class act. When one of his first spring training games was against San Diego, and he's just dapping up all of his old teammates. So he seems like a good kid. He hit the cover off the ball in the spring. So there's a lot of things to be excited about, but it is just spring training. These games don't matter, but it's been fun to watch him get going as a really young man. It's been super cool.
Yeah. How come MLB just can't seem to see Soderstrom? Why are they missing him?
Yeah.
I mean, this guy was drafted as a catcher, and then last year he's in a Gold Glove finalist for playing left field for the first time in his life.
Yeah,
he's a great athlete, and I think that's been the common theme with General Manager David Forrest for the A's is just getting more athletic in this rebuild that they recently just had. And you're seeing a lot on a different platform of everywhere on this field, because they have a guy like Max Muncy, who was drafted as a shortstop. He's going to be the opening day third baseman. So I just mentioned Soderstrom going from catcher to first base to the outfield because, hey, Tyler, we don't want you to catch. We have Shea Langeliers there. Let's try you at first. We just drafted Nick Kurtz. You're actually going to go to the outfield now. And then he was a great outfielder. So, and it's just a lot of great athletes on the field. Denzel Clark, he's going to make insane plays in center, right? But it's just a matter of if he's going to hit, which he probably won't. But his defense is going to save you a lot of the time too. So we're also seeing Zach Geloff, who was riddled with injuries last year. Injuries are actually going to make him move position. So he's been in the outfield in the spring. He made a great play in center. He's normally a second baseman. So the A's are, funny enough, the Athletics are pretty athletic this year. So I'm excited to see how this whole thing unfolds because there's a couple of guys who, if they don't hit, we have guys behind them who will probably put up a better fight at the plate, and they can also play multiple positions. It's just, for the A's, man, it comes down to pitching. But if you have a guy like Soderstrom, you have a guy like Kurtz, and you have Jacob Wilson, you have Brent Rooker, Lawrence Butler in your lineup, you can out-hit a lot of people, you can outmash, but it's going to come down to pitching at the end of the day. Every single year, it's going to come down to pitching no matter what.
Who do you think is one guy that you want people like outside fans such as me to keep an eye on this year?
For the A's, as in terms of guys who are going to make the team or just guys in their farm system?
In terms of pitching, just for who are on, pitching, like for be it starting, relieving, whoever. For this season, man, it's really going to be heavy on Jeffrey Springs, a 33-year-old he had a pretty tough start to the year last year, but he is so important for this rotation because we all know it's going to be Luis Severino on opening day, right? And he's looked pretty good in the World Baseball Classic. I think he's a lot different when he has his country on his chest as opposed to that A's logo on his chest. Yeah, we had him in New York here for a year, so.
Right, yeah, I know you're familiar with him. And, sometimes he's electric and sometimes he can really struggle. And I think it's really a mental battle for Luis. But we're hoping to get a different side of him this year. So backing him up is Jeffrey Springs. In a lot of situations, Jeffrey could be put in the spot where we need a really good start out of him. We need a quality 6, maybe 5+ innings out of him. It's going to be really important for him just to get back to who he was with Tampa. And today, which is great news, he was really good today in his start. He splattered around some walks a little bit. He wasn't as efficient with his strikes and his command, but he got out of it. And that's going to be really important for him going forward this entire season, is limiting damage and just getting out of tough spots, because the back end of this edge rotation is probably going to be pretty terrible. Aaron Savali's back there. We're going to have to flip-flop guys in the 5 spot, probably do a couple of bullpen games in this season. So it's really important that your 2 starter, Jeffrey Springs, is going to be really solid for you this season.
Yeah, looking into what you guys had for options, like your offense, great. I have no problem with Langoliers down to the bottom. No issues. It's the pitching. That was the only really thing that I was worried about. And I was laughing at it. I was talking with Pete a couple days ago. I'm like, it's like the opposite of the Mets. Like with the Mets, I'm not worried about the pitching that much.
Right.
Like they're going to be tolerable and fine. I'm going to yell at them a couple times, but that's the way fandom goes. And then the offense is like, well, what's going to happen? There's no Pete. There's no this. There's no that. It's like with the A's, it's the opposite. Offense, perfectly confident in the offense. Pitching,
right. Right. No, exactly. And especially in West Sacramento, man, that ball flies out of that ballpark. And it's going to be an issue again this season, 100%. And especially when it heats up in the Sacramento area, it's super thin air. That ball just flies. And we're going to have the same issues in Vegas. It's not like we're going to be going into a pitcher's park and what they're building in downtown Las Vegas right now.
Do we have dimensions yet for the Las Vegas park?
Dude, I don't know. And every time I see pictures of this thing, it's getting built up and it looks great so far. But I'm like, man, that looks pretty tiny for a baseball stadium, man. I don't think we're going to get much, and down the lines at least. And there's going to be hardly any foul territory, which is what A's fans are not used to. So,
that's quite a shift.
Yeah, it's going to be a little different. We're going to go from, hey, you can go to Oakland and save your career as a pitcher, to we're going to get guys who need to maybe spice up the back of their baseball card with their batting average and their slugging percentage. So it's
yeah, be from San Francisco and foul territory over there at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be a huge shift as an A's fan, just because my entire life I grew up in the Bay Area. I'm used to it's going to be cold the first 2 months of the season. We're going to get a ton of guys just low ERA, low batting average, and we'll kind of wait till summertime just for that air to clear out. It's way different now. It's a completely different mindset that the general managers and the front office have to think about when you're dealing with the Sacramento and then the Las Vegas A's. And it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. Sacramento's great. And you're right, the ball flies there. And it's interesting to see how you have to change what you're going to do. Just for anybody who doesn't know this, the Oakland Coliseum was so big, you could orient a football field 90 degrees and would fit in both directions. That's how big that grass is. The entire stadium of Wrigley Field can fit on the grass. it's insane how big that yard was. And so you're right. It's going to make a big difference. By the way, Brian's been quiet for a long time. So Brian, come on in.
Yeah, no, I mean, Cullen was asking great questions. He pretty much covered everything I wanted to ask you about. The pitching, the focus on hitting instead of pitching was because of the smaller ballpark, which I assumed it was. Yeah, you guys have a lot of great hitting prospects. It's impressive. Do you think Leo is a threat to push Wilson over to second base?
See, this is what we talk about on All on Green, is because you just locked up Jacob Wilson, right? And Jacob comes from a great family. His dad was an incredible utility infielder throughout his entire career. So we talk about maybe Jack gets in Jacob's ear a little bit, father to son talk, and be like, you know what, son, second base isn't that bad. Yeah. Because that's kind of what we want, right? Because Jacob Wilson is, let's be real here, not a very good defender. His range is not there. He doesn't have a great arm. Leo has shown that he's going to be a shortstop. And I don't know if you can slide that kid over to second. So I would love for Jacob to move over. But again, you just locked him up. You just told him you're our shortstop for the future. I don't know how this conversation goes. You're dealing with
the kid.
Exactly. And you're dealing with egos between athletes here, 100%. And that's always a tricky line to walk on. So as a fan, yes, I would like Jacob to move over because Leo is going to be the truth at shortstop. He's going to be electric over there, but I don't want to ruin Jacob whatsoever. He's my guy. We share the same last name. I love the guy.
Your bias is definitely present.
Yeah, somewhere down the line, maybe we're related. I have no idea. But
would you rather have the Mets program this year of great pitching and let's see on the hitting, or would you rather have the A's? Hey, we're going to bash 800 runs, which is kind of my prediction for those guys. I take the over on that. But maybe have to just get by in pitching. Both those models work, but which one would you rather have? And I guess we'll just go around the horn here and start with you.
It's a great question. It's kind of like the same. Would you rather watch old school Big 12 football or Big 10 football? It's like, do you want to have a lot of punts? Do you want to have a lot of touchdowns? I think at the end of the day, I lean towards pitching just because pitching wins you a World Series every single time. And you can skate by with playing a little bit of smaller ball, even in today's game of just mashing all the time. So I would lean pitching 100%.
Okay. Cullen?
I personally would go, I'd rather have more offense just because I feel like pitching is so easily manipulable in this day's game where it's like, all right, you throw this pitch to this pitch and this pitch. All right, just move your hands a little bit to the side. All right, now you're throwing something with depth that falls off the table. Mm-hmm. It's much easily tweakable compared to hitting where it's like, all right, you see this guy, he's throwing this. Where a pitcher can just go up to the pitching coach, hey, I want an extra 2 inches on my breaking ball. All right, you just move it over this way. iPad tells me this. All right, yep, you're going to move it over this way, and then you're throwing this. So I feel like it's a lot easier to tweak pitching nowadays than it is to tweak hitting.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. Brian, what do you think?
I don't know. It looks like I'm gone. I don't know if you can hear me.
We'll go towards the light, Brian.
Looks like someone threw a flashbang in your.
Yeah.
But no, I like the idea of building up hitting.
It's like a YouTube video now.
I know.
It's like an old It's like an old YouTube poop tutorial.
Yeah. Give us your answer real quick, and then we'll get you off the big screen.
I think. There we go. I like the idea of building up the offense more so than the pitching. Pitching's more of a wild card. You can find pitching more so anywhere than you can guys that can hit it. I like what the A's have done. I'd love to see them win 80 some games. I like the A's.
Yeah, let's do that. So what's the first off, Rob, who gets more wins, the Mets or the A's this year?
I would lean just because the AL West is not very strong. I think there's a lot of free wins out there for the A's. The Angels are going to be bad. I'm not sold on the Rangers whatsoever. They went 500 last year, and I don't know where they got better. They might have even gotten worse. So I think there's a lot of free wins out there for the A's. I mean, trying to be as optimistic as I possibly can with the A's when it's been a very pessimistic feeling as an A's fan. But I would lean towards the A's just because I feel like, and the point that you just made about pitching is we can find it eventually down the road. But if we hit the entire time, there's a lot of free wins out there. And especially if you start beating up teams with bad bullpens, I think they can do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And I 100% agree, honestly, just because that NL East can be a juggernaut between Brian's Phillies, The Braves are probably back. The Marlins will probably beat the Mets because fuck you. That's the way it goes.
Right.
The Nationals will probably do the same thing because, again, fuck you. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
But with that, I'm also surprised that the A's haven't gone after like a Giolito type. Yeah, because he's still on the market. But then again, I also kind of understand because Giolito's a fly ball pitcher, and as you guys have mentioned, the ball flies out there.
Right.
But it's worth it just to have someone just to take up those innings. And who can give you that? Hey, I sucked once. You suck now, but you're gonna get better, kid. You're gonna be fine.
Right. Yeah. That's a conversation that I've had with many A's fans of just why haven't you added any, veterans who have done it before, but maybe need to prove that they can still do it and do it again. Giolito's a great name to bring up for sure. There's a couple of other guys that were on the market this offseason, and I was a little shocked that the A's didn't go after harder just because of the struggle that we saw for most of the season with Severino, especially at home. He was a different guy at home. It was sad, and he turned into a completely different guy on the road. It was just so obvious that he just had a better mentality going into a road start, and his splits are a direct showing of that. But then you have guys like Jacob Lopez, right? Just a random lefty that just got hot for you, and his splits were opposite. He was way better at home. So it's hard to gauge with this pitching staff too. So
baseball's a weird sport anyway, where
it is, man. That's why stats are so cool.
Reason to anything.
Yeah,
and there's also no rush. Like, let's see how these guys do. They got a lot of young. Like last year, we got to see a lot of the young talent. There's still a lot more young talent. Let's see how we're doing at Memorial Day, and then you start making moves.
Right.
Then you start to shore everything up. And this is an old model everybody knows about, but yeah, I mean, if pick any pitcher you want, Springs. If he had a great spring and then turned around and had a crap summer, that would surprise nobody. And if he just rolled all throughout the year and was a light Cy Young candidate, you'd be like, hey, that's a nice bump up, but still within capability for him. But that's a rosy picture. But hey, these things happen every year.
Yeah, and then the A's have great young talent coming in from the pitching side. A lot of good left-handers coming up here. Jamie Arnold out of Florida State last season, who pitched in a super regional against my Oregon State Beavers. He did a great job. He shoved it against us, and he showed that he can do it. He's kind of that Chris Sale-esque type of lefty. He's going to come down a little bit of his arm angle, and that 92 feels more like 95, 96, and he's going to be a problem. He had a good spring. He pitched in a few outings, and then there's also Gage Jump, who was with the organization last year as well. He's going to be another guy we could potentially see this year. He's more electric, more over the top, kind of a herky-jerky motion with him, but he throws it a lot harder.
For me
and then Wei Lin, who is another international signing, he pitched with Chinese Taipei. He looked pretty good. He had a tough start in spring yesterday, but I don't blame a guy from going from the WBC back to Mesa, Arizona. Go ahead and pitch again, buddy. But I'm excited about this young left-handed core that the A's are going to be bringing up here. So going to need to find some right-handed guys to offset them in that rotation, but
shades of early 2000s for you guys.
Exactly. I know. We just got to find our Tim Hudson now. So
it's also true that we can say this all the time, but spring training numbers mean nothing. And maybe he came in and like, hey, you have the WBC. Let's just work on just throw fastballs low in the zone. That's what we're working, or whatever they said, right? Whatever the prescription was. And it's all right because the other guy's like, I'm just working on crushing fastballs low in the zone. And so, of course, he has a bad day because these things don't line up. They're less worried about that, more worried about the work.
100%. And especially with like veterans too, anybody who's over the age of 30 in spring training, I put nothing into their spring training outings. Like they're just out there. They're just trying to get their work in, and then they're going to go out and probably golf later in the day. Like they don't care. And with the younger guys, I put a little bit more into it because they're trying to prove themselves a little bit more. But yeah, like a guy like Jeffrey Springs, like the other day, he gave up 6 earned runs. It's like, who cares? I know what he's going to do when he gets out there when the regular season, and when you ring that bell, he's going to be ready to go. So not worried at all for the older guys.
Yeah. Plus he's only on I'm looking at Spot Track right now. He's on a 3-year deal that's 3-year, $36 million. I'm thinking my math is correct.
Yes. That sounds about right.
Yeah, 10.5 this year, then 15 next year. He already got paid 10.5 last year. That's a nothing deal. That's easy.
Yeah, when they got him, that was a big deal for the A's because back when they acquired Springs, they were not paying anybody besides Lawrence Butler and Brent Rooker. So it was kind of like, maybe they want to add a little salary, but they also had to hit that threshold too. That's why a lot of people have their conspiracy about why Luis Severino signed with the A's because the players union like kind of forced him to do it. So there's that side of it too.
There's a bunch of weird.
I mean, all of that stuff's a little bit silly because the game has its own way of taking care of these things, and yeah, they got to sign some guys. Also, there's got to be enough money in the coffers. It's easy to spend someone else's money, but you have to get performance on the field. And what the A's have always done is put good talent on the field. They've had competitive teams over and over and over and over again. And so, yeah, let's let Forrest and crew be great at finding talent. Let's make them good at spending money and just let this thing be an improvement because now the machine works better.
100%. And they also added Bob Melvin into a semi-dugout, semi-front office role. He hasn't really explained what he's been doing so far, but he is back with the organization. I think that's nothing but a positive thing. Just because, I don't know, myself included, a lot of A's fans are kind of questioning Mark Kotsay because the last 2 seasons of the A's, a lot of good young talent for sure, but they've lost the division in May, and then they've been playing catch-up baseball. And then last year we were talking about, if they didn't have that 1-19 stretch, they'd be in a wild card right now. Yeah, so they just have to avoid that just half month to a month of just, this is horrible baseball. Let's figure it out. But we've talked about it on All in Green. The opening part of this schedule for the A's is a gauntlet. They go through it right away. They open in Toronto. I mean, it's not going to be easy to start. So no. Here is your opportunity, boys. Like, I need you to get going. We cannot have that typical slow A start. It'd be nice to start hot for once in my life. To be honest with you, the A's just don't do that, though. So, yeah.
Like, the flip side of that is 15 wins a month for the first 3 months, and you are smiling like that because the team does play better in the second half, and the schedule, at least on paper, lightens up. Sorry, I cut you off, Cullen.
I'm friendly with some of the guys that run the Jaybird Watching podcast over on YouTube. X, whatever you want to call it, but they're all good people, so they talk Jays all the time. So I hear all about their Jays all the time because I'm feeding them whatever information I can find on them. But one guy that I found really interesting because I was going through the WBC rosters, Carlos Cortez.
Yeah.
Who came from the Mets. Pete, do you know about him or no?
No, I don't.
Switch thrower.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Position player, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right-handed in the infield, left-handed in the outfield.
Yeah, it was really it's like he starts a game in right field, and the A's have moved him into the infield because I think it was an extra inning game, and he had to move over. And then you're like, oh, Carlos Cortez is playing third, and me and my friends are like, isn't he left-handed? And then he's over there throwing the ball right-handed, and you're like, and you look it up, and he is a switch thrower. Yeah, it's incredible. What a utility to use. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, because I was scrolling through. I'm like, all right, let's see who's on the WBC. All right, because I think it was on Panama, Puerto Rico, one of the Latin teams, and I'm like, all right, throws, because I'm one of those people that enjoys like the weird, like throws left, bats right-handed, like or old school Nick Swisher. Throws left, bat switch. I love those types of weird position player things. So I'm like, throws. And I'm going back. I'm like, yeah, it's bats, throws. All right, bats left. Yeah, that makes sense. Throws, switch. Who the fuck is this?
This is not about me, but back when I could throw on my arms all shot out now, but I was a switch thrower. So if you like threw football with me, I'd probably throw 5 or 6 left-handed and then 5 or 6 right-handed in. Nobody knows that about me because even if they've caught with me, you still don't notice that I've switched hands. So you just different arm ability each side. Both are good, but they do different things. Like a lot of left-handers, my left-handed ball kind of slides a little bit. So it is a neat thing to find people like that. So I'm thrilled that you guys have this guy. I'm definitely going to be watching. I love it.
And he's also he's a really short dude too, and like he doesn't have a ton of power. Yeah, he's
shorter than me.
I've been calling him a rat just because he kind of just runs around, but he's such a good ball player. Like you'll find him on base a ton.
Because I'm like, who the hell is this kid? And I realized he came from the Mets, and I was like,
love it.
All right, you took him from us.
And I think
damn you, Oakland.
Andrew and I have kind of broken it down for the A's opening day 26-man roster, and we feel like it's down to him and Colby Thomas in the outfield for the last spot on the team, and that's an impossible decision to make right now because Colby's had a really nice spring, and he's another young guy who can potentially be somebody solid for the A's, but the A's outfield is just so crowded right now. It's so difficult to make a decision, and Cortez he's been playing super well in the WBC. He did his thing last year with the A's where they just kind of plugged him into the lineup and they're like, let's just see what he does. And then you find out he's getting on base like 2 to 3 times a game. And after 3 weeks, you're kind of like, this guy's putting up some pretty solid numbers. He just doesn't look like he's going to be a good ball player. He's just out there. He's a little rat. He's just doing all the right things, though. And it's going to be a really, really hard decision to make if I'm Mark Kotsay. But personally, I'd choose Cortez all day because he's a little lightning bolt. And I think he can provide a
I
little
may be
more.
biased, but I'd keep him on there, too, just because it gives you positional versatility.
100%.
Yeah, you have Jeff McNeil out there who can play second, third, left, right, even a little bit of center if you're desperate for it. And Clark, something happens to Denzel Clark, heaven forbid. But, you have options there. And positional versatility is huge. Huge.
Yeah.
So if you can have Cortez, who's a cheap option, it's like, all right, throw him in right, throw him in left. Just throw him in the field. Let him play.
And Cohen, you mentioned Jeff McNeil. What are your thoughts about him? Because I'm really curious about how he's going to be an A. Because typical A's, they like to sign a lot of veterans who are clearly washed up and don't belong in the bigs anymore. But Jeff is excited to be an A. He's from the Sacramento area, and I think he's really hyped to be back home playing. What are your thoughts on Jeff?
So I think he's a good fit for you guys because you guys have a lot of power between Rooker, Langoliers, Kurtz. It's very heavy power for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at your, based off Fangraphs roster resource. Kurtz leading off, Langoliers, Soderstrom, Rooker, McNeil batting 5th. Then Wilson, Butler, Muncy, Clark. Clark is your prototypical center fielder of old days. Catch the ball, can't hit much if you get anything. Cool story. But McNeil gives you a nice little contact break. He's not going to hit you a lot of home runs, but at least you shouldn't. He tried to hit the ball out of the park a lot in New York, which didn't go well. But when he just tried to slap the ball and go with it, he won the batting title. So if you have something to break up that lineup of just power, and then you have Wilson and McNeil as your contact guys to break that up, it's all right, let's put Wilson at the top, move everybody else down a spot, or do Wilson, Langoliers, Kurtz. You got contact, someone that can probably hit a double or another home run because Langoliers is hitting 3 home run games it's going out of style at this point, and you don't get that out of your catcher position unless you're Hunter Goodman. Really, it's Hunter Goodman's the only other catcher that I think hit 30 home runs last year, aside from Raleigh, of course.
Right. Yeah, I think you're correct on that. Yeah.
And so it's all right, you got contact and you got power. It's a very balanced old school lineup, and it adds left-handed contact to counteract Wilson's right-handed contact.
Right.
So you got plenty to go with there if all goes well. And he's only there for another year, and he's there for $10 million, which is low price tag, club option next year. So if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Just don't sign the club option and he's gone.
Fair enough. And again, we've just seen it so many times as A's fans. When Matt Chapman was coming up, Trevor Plouffe was blocking him. Okay, and when Matt Olson was coming up, Yonder Alonso was blocking him. They've done it so many times where just a young guy is behind a aging veteran who clearly should not be playing anymore. I hope Jeff isn't that guy for Leo DeVries, and because by June we're all going to be saying, "Where's the kid?" We'd rather see the kid than this guy who's been washed for a couple of years now. But I will say Jeff's looked very solid so far in spring. It looks like he loves being an A. My buddy Andrew was in spring training, and for Jeff's day off, he was actually with his family 2 rows ahead of him watching the A's play. So it feels like a little bit he cares. I think he likes to be an A, which right now is a very rare thing with a lot of guys. You get to play in a minor league ballpark.
Red ass at times, I will say that.
Well, honestly, I'll take the emotion right now. Something to talk about throughout the year. Yeah,
passionate. I'll phrase it like that. He's passionate.
Okay, we'll take that. I could use some passion because last year there's moments where I'm like, I think this team's doesn't want to be here. They're pretty dead. So, and then they turn it around.
Yeah, the amount of times that I have seen Jeff McNeil, he gets a decent amount of hits. Don't get me wrong, but the amount of times I've seen him accidentally roll over on the ball, and this was during COVID, so nothing but cardboard cutouts in the stands. You just hear bink, fuck.
Yeah,
throwing helmets down and just
hot
yelling.
mic moments that year.
Oh god, those those bits were so funny. The Jock Peterson one, I can't stop laughing at. Where are you going, Jock? God damn it!
I don't know where
Every time.
Jeff McNeil belongs in the lineup, but I'd want to see how he does up front, and I want to let that just terrifying middle of lineup protect him. You know, like, hey, you're gonna have to throw strikes to Jeff and Wilson, by the way. And I'm not saying those guys need to go 1-2, but if you did, you're going to have a lot of folks on base in front of Langoliers, Soderstrom, Kurtz, however those guys lay out. I'd love to see that approach. And if Jeff can't handle it, he'll let you know. Like it'll be put me towards the back. But it seems to me that he knows how to make contact, and that's gonna pay well for the A's if they can sort something like that out. But that's how I like to construct the lineup. I like to get guys who get on base in front of guys who like to smash balls. I don't want to see Kurtz leading off. I don't want it to be 1-0. I don't need those extra 30 at bats. What I want is him with guys on base in front of him, because a 3-run home run is more winning than a solo home run.
Right. Lineup construction is going to be so interesting this year for the A's, and we've spoken about it on Green. I'm trying to get into the analytics as much as I possibly can, and I get it with the lineup stuff. You know, putting your better guy in the 2-hole for sure. I understand that a lot, but I don't love the idea of Kurtz leading off a ball game either, because I don't know what kind of mentality he's going to have as a leadoff hitter. If it's a first pitch fastball and we're ambushing, yeah, sure, I'd like to start the game 1-0, but when the game gets going, we roll it down the line, it's like, who's setting the table for him? Is it going to be Denzel Clark? We can't really trust him to get on base a whole lot for old Nick Kurtz. Okay, we would like to have guys on base for him. And you're right, the extra, whatever amount of bats it is good for his stat line for sure. It's probably going to get him a lot more walks, but you're starting the game with an open base. And most of the time, he's going to have an open base in front of him, especially with an 8-9 hitter who's probably not going to be as productive as a Jacob Wilson, as a Brent Rooker, as a Shea Langoliers, and then the list goes on. So we'll see how it kind of plays out through May, just so we can get a really good sample size there. But I'm with you. I don't think it's the right idea. Jacob Wilson is your leadoff hitter. He did it last year. He was great at it, and Lawrence Butler can do it too. So
that's how I would put it personally. I'd put Wilson in front, and then like the way that's structured is Kurtz, Langoliers, Soderstrom, Rooker, McNeil, Wilson, Butler, Muncy, Clark on Fangraphs. I'd move Wilson up top, then probably do Wilson. I'd do Wilson, Soderstrom, Langoliers, Kurtz, Rooker, McNeil.
See, yeah, and I like that better. I think I still want Nick Kurtz hitting in the first inning. I would like him in the 3-hole for sure. I think Shea Langoliers or Brent Rooker could be a fine cleanup guy. But it's a good problem to have for the A's, 100%. You got about 6 guys in this lineup who are going to be a threat to hit the ball out of the ballpark. And that's great. And Max Muncy, too, is another guy who I don't think a lot of people know about. And it's not the Dodger Max Muncy. No, we let him go.
Same birthday, though.
Yes,
both drafted by the A's.
And they both homered today in the 4th inning, which is hilarious. But they have something really special brewing in Max Muncy. He played a little bit last year. He was getting his feet wet in the major leagues for the whole year pretty much. And he feels like he's coming into his own right now. And he's going to be the opening day third baseman. I'm really excited about him. I got to talk to him a little bit when he was down in Stockton right after he got drafted. He's just a level-headed kid. He's extremely just ill-mannered, doesn't really say much. He just kind of keeps his head down, does his job. And when he barrels a baseball up, he can do a lot of damage. And he's hit the cover off the ball this spring. So we're hoping that translates into the regular season. But if he becomes a guy behind this plethora of guys who can hit the crap out of the ball, it's like Denzel Clark is like the only guy holding you back in a lineup. And that's totally fine because he made the defense last year league bottom to league average by himself. So you're not giving up much by having Denzel Clark hit 9th for you. And then you still have Henry Bolte, who we haven't mentioned, who just got sent back down to AAA as well. He's a 22-year-old former top five round pick for the A's out of Palo Alto High School. He's a guy who's going to be really exciting to watch going forward. So again, good problems to have. There's a lot more competition going on than 3-4 years ago for the A's, and it's really exciting as an A's fan right now.
Yeah, I
just some numbers that I like to.
easily
Go ahead,
85
Cullen.
games. Sorry to take over, Pete, but just because
No, you're
offense to
fine. You're
Raleigh,
fine. My
but
Wi-Fi's been a little buggy. Yeah.
Raleigh's going
A
to
couple numbers that I like to use when I'm evaluating.
He's not going to hit 60 home runs again.
I can't get
Framber's no
my Wi-Fi
longer in your
stays
division.
stable right now. Okay.
We've spoken about that too. Cal Raleigh is definitely going to take a step back this season,
Yeah.
100%. And
He might hit 40. Or
yeah,
hit 30,
for sure. But
But it's not 60.
he's definitely he's a 210 batting average with 30-ish home runs, and he's going to strike out a lot. He's probably going to walk more this year for sure, but he's still going to strike out a ton for you. And I don't. We can talk about the Mariners another time, but I'm not sold on them either. So
yeah, they have a good pitching staff though. I'll give them that. But to go with that, the Astros lost Framber. He's no longer in your division.
right.
That's one less guy you have to face.
Honestly,
they have that Astros, that prospect that came over from that 3-team trade with the Pirates.
Yeah, I'm not really that worried about the Astros either because they're getting older each year, and they know it too.
He's getting old, and he's also shorter than me. Suck it, Jose.
And he's also a horrible defender, and he's only getting worse out there. So I'm not too worried about the Astros this year. I just don't see it with most of the AL West, and it only took 91 games to win the division last year. So
yeah, let me take a quick look at it. Actually, at that because I feel like it was low 90s. I want to say
it might have been 91, and Seattle, only came on strong towards the end of the year, and that's what was so frustrating about the A's last year is they had that 1-19 stretch, and again, if they didn't win 6 of those games. Yeah. If they just win 6 of those games, you're in the hunt for a lot of things here. So they just have to avoid that stretch again this year. But yeah.
I wanted to say before my Wi-Fi got all crazy, and hopefully it's good now. Some of the numbers that I like are 2 RBI games are winning games. So how do we get Langoliers and Kurtz to have as many 2 RBI games as possible? Langoliers had a
We lost him again.
Yep. Yeah, 90 games won the division.
90 even? There you go.
90 even.
See, that's not a ton of wins, man. For a division-winning team, that's not a lot.
Yeah.
There he is. Let's go. 2 RBI games, Pete. Keep going.
I'm back. So 2 RBI games are huge. Soderstrom had a bunch of them last year. He also he was a league leader in what I call high WPA games. And so he was comparable with Muncy and with Freeman, in terms of like MVP status. These are really important things. So 2 RBI games, 3 hit games. These are games that win. And so Wilson led the team in 3 hit games. Soderstrom is right behind him. So even that combination up top, you're going to have Wilson on base quite a lot. Whoever gets on base the most, not by percentage, but whoever tobs the most, get on base in front of Kurtz. That's what I want to see because those things lead to wins. How powerful 3-hit games? It's like 70, 75% most of the time that the team wins. It's really strong correlation there. Wow. 2 RBI games, same kind of thing. Above 600, often above 700, depending on the quality of the game. So, yes, hitting the ball hard. Yes, all of the modern stats. But just, can you get me 2 RBIs in this game? Can you get me 2 hit games are better at winning than the team's winning percentage, right? These are old-timey stats, but thought up in a different way. So how do we get as much quality into those things? How do we get as many of those outcomes as possible? Soderstrom was great last year, so maybe having him hit second and just mash in and then have Kurtz clean up whatever's not there. But you'd have a lot of games started, 1, 2, and 3 up, before the end of the first inning.
Yeah, man, and I'm on the same wavelength as you. I like Soderstrom in that 2-hole. I love a left-handed hitter in the 2 spot just a lot. Anyway, it's in case somebody's on first. We have the right side open already. You can't shift anymore. I love that for a left-handed hitter in this current age of baseball.
Yeah,
we'll see as this goes, man. I don't think the A's are actually sold on Nick Kurtz being their leadoff guy. Because the point that you're making is you need him to be in spots to drive in guys, right? I need you to have a lot of RBIs. But to that point, Kyle Schwarber has led off for the last few years as well. And he ends up getting a ton of RBIs anyway, too. So it's going to be interesting. Okay, this first 2 months is going to be so important for him in that role because he's not used to it. He's never done it before, right? So it's going to be different for him. I'm curious to see how it rolls out. I'm not going to necessarily say I'm excited for it right now, but I am curious to see how this whole thing rolls out because if it goes bad, it's an easy fix, right? Hey, Bubba, you're going to go back to 3-hole. Go ahead and do your thing. You can see it up pitcher a little bit more.
Let's be honest about Denzel Clark. Incredible with the glove. Probably not an asset that the A's don't need. Do we keep him? If we keep him, who's his domestique in center field? Because you're going to have someone good.
Henry Bolte is right now our guy, and he's been a huge conversation between A's fans. There's a big X group chat that I am involved in, and when he got moved back down to minor league camp, I think a lot of A's fans were a little bit bummed, but he's really young still. He's only 22. He's finding his game. He's finding his stroke. He was a high school guy out of the draft, and he plays with his hair on fire. It's incredible. He hustles everywhere. He'll get you a hustle double. He'll get you that extra 90 feet whenever you need it. And that's a very undervalued asset in a lot of today's baseball game too, is guys who are just gonna out hustle you. If the ball's in the dirt and it gets away from catcher a little bit, we're gonna make you throw it down, and he's gonna slide around you. He's gonna be fine because he plays with speed, and he's still young. He's gonna have to learn the game a little bit more. I don't want to rush him per se, but he is going to be on Denzel Clark's ass 100%. And then we also have Zach Geloff, who I mentioned earlier, moving positions and another good athlete. He can just kind of play the yard and made a great play in center. He played right field today. So he's going to be getting some looks in the outfield. And then we mentioned him earlier. Jeff McNeil can play a little bit of center field. Okay. Lawrence Butler can play a little bit of center field. I'm not worried about if Denzel Clark isn't going to fucking hit the ball. We're going to be fine. Okay. It's really just about if you can hit 230 for us, because he's shown last year that when he does barrel a baseball up, he can get it out of the yard. He can hit the ball pretty hard every now and then. It's just a strikeout rate. He's just got to put the ball in play way more. And I think there's way too much room for growth that he needs to have to happen. I don't see it with Denzel on the offensive side, but I really want him to be the guy because he's just so fun to watch out there in center field. And he's going to make an amazing play once or twice this season. That just makes you watch it 15 to 20 times. That catch he made in Anaheim is just the best play I've ever seen in my life. And
I was at that game.
That's incredible.
And nobody talks about this, but like the next play of his was incredible. And then he had another play, 3 Gold Glove caliber plays in that game. And just an incredible display of defense. And you're right. If he's out there just doing his job catching the ball, and if he can stay healthy, not likely, that's going to be a good value add. And then maybe you switch it up with someone who's, like you said, a change of pace guy. That might be enough. Yeah, and on that team, you don't need too much more offense.
Right, exactly. And that's a great point too. And Denzel Clark didn't even play 50 games last year, and we saw him do a lot of great things with the glove. I'm really curious to see what he does in a full year. I just don't think he gets a full year because they're going to see him hitting 190 and being like, Bubba, we need someone else. If you want to be a lethal team this year for the A's especially, and we talked about that pitching staff earlier, they need to be so solid 1 through 9. They're going to want guys who can hit in every single part of the lineup just so they can be so relentless and just come at you all game long where the lineup just doesn't stop. That's where the A's are going to have to separate themselves from everybody else because they're never going to be out of a game, but unfortunately the pitching staff could get them into some trouble, especially on the road, late in games. Holding leads can be an issue towards the end of the game. So that's going to be the one thing about the A's is can we hold leads late and can we close the door in the 9th? Because I have no idea who's going to be pitching the 9th inning for this team right now.
Yeah, right now your roster resource has 3 closers listed.
Yeah, it's going to be by committee. It feels like they're probably going to match up heavy. Hogan Harris might be a guy. Perkins might be the guy.
He's one of them.
Yeah, we might see
Harris,
Ferguson.
Sterner, who I haven't heard of. And
Sterner is like a Keith Folk, so he's not going to blow you away, but he's going to have some blow up too. Yeah, he looks exactly like Keith Folk. He's got the short arm right behind his ear kind of thing. So.
His windup always weirded me out. I'm in New England, so I'm well familiar with how Keith Folk pitched the ball because former Little League catcher, everybody wants to imitate that last moment where the ground ball goes right back to him.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
It's either the back to Folk or that whip arm action of Pokey Reese thrown out to end the ALCS.
The Pokey Reese, man. Yeah, we'll see, man. This A's bullpen is going to be a crapshoot of guys. They added Leiter Jr., whoop-de-doo. They added Scott Barlow, whoop-de-doo. So they're going to have to find some success somewhere. Someone's going to have to step up and be an 8th and 9th inning guy for him. And right now, it's really on Kotsay to figure it out. And whoever gets hot, put them out there. We need you in the 9th, brother. You got to get 25, 26, and 27, and those are the 3 hardest to get. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
The hope and praise.
Exactly. Yeah, no, we're long past the days of Billy Koch and Sean Doolittle
Early
and Grant Balfour, dude.
Isringhausen.
Isringhausen, yeah, man. Isring them up, man. We're well past those days.
Houston
Houston
Street.
Street. Yeah, man. I used to pitch like him when
Grant
I was
Balfour.
a kid.
But those guys are still around, and a lot of times, and we all know this, it's that reliever who figures something out, who had it before, lost it, had to invent something else. And the A's are good at that. They'll find someone who can do the job good enough. And maybe this isn't the year they go to the World Series, but if they can be competitive for a playoff spot, which I think that we all expect that. If they busted 90 wins, again, no one's going to be surprised because they're going to have games where, Langoliers can win games on his own. Soderstrom's already an MVP caliber player. Obviously, Kurt's an MVP caliber player. At some point, that offense is going to be enough because you're not going to allow 8 runs every game. You're not going to have as much control over the runs, but they're still going to kind of idle at a spot where your 5 is going to beat their 4 quite often.
Yeah, and I hope so, man. I really hope so because, and like you just mentioned, the A's are good at finding guys, and that was the Oakland A's. The West Sacramento A's so far haven't been great at finding solid relievers out of nowhere. We talked about him on the last show. Brad Mills was the guy that the A's got for $1. And he came in and started against Cleveland on a random Tuesday night, and he went 5 2/3. It's because you could just plug a guy in Oakland and be like, he's going to give us 5+ innings here. He might get into the 6.
That's fair.
But nowadays, it's like we need a guy to just go 5. If you give up 4 runs, we're in the game. We can do that. Mm-hmm. And then it's just about turning over to somebody in the bullpen who is a plus guy who you can trust. And I wouldn't be shocked if Kate goes to a more of a, if you're rolling in our bullpen, we're going to give you another inning kind of guy. I think it's just going to be hot hand. Whoever has the hot hand, we're going to roll with them and just hope and pray that he can get, at least 1 1/3, 1 2/3, and just keep the line going.
A lot of up downs.
Yeah.
Tons. Yeah.
All right, so let's wrap this thing up. And thanks for coming on and hanging out with us, Rob. Everybody, definitely go check out the podcast. Here's the daily podcast. This is the House Always Wins Network, and right there is the link for it. You can go there and you can find all of the shows that Booney puts out, including Rob's show. So definitely go to check. And look, and you guys know how to find Rob on Twitter. And if you don't, hit Cullen and Ryan. We'll direct you right over to. You all know how to work the internet. So, Cullen, wrap us up. What are your thoughts?
I frankly think that are going to be an easy 87+ wins if everything goes well. Like, the offense is going to offense. Denzel Clark is going to be Denzel Clark. But with the teams around them in the division, Astros didn't really get better, I don't think. Mariners, they re-signed who they needed to re-sign. I don't think they added anybody crazy. And the A's have young talent getting better. It's perfect formula for, it wouldn't surprise me if they ended up winning that division. It wouldn't. I wouldn't say it's their division to lose because I feel like that's the Mariners at this point because they made it to Game 7 of the ALCS.
Right.
But at the same time, Raleigh's going to regress. I'm sorry, Mariners fans. I'm sorry, Eric. I'm sorry, Daily Walkoff. He's going to regress. He's not going to hit 60 home runs again. He might hit you high 30s, low 40s, but he's not giving you that every year.
Yeah.
Kurtz is going to mash everything, probably. He reminds me a lot of Tony.
Who's going to have the bigger year, Roman Anthony or Kurtz?
Oh, I would hope Nick Kurtz, but that leadoff role could throw him a little wrench. So
it depends on where he starts the year, right?
Yeah, that's really where it comes down for me. Roman Anthony is such a talented young player, man. He's going to be so exciting for years to come. That's a really good question. I mean, it comes down to, like, the A's were 1 and 2 last year in Rookie of the Year, right? It's Wilson and Kurtz. And if Wilson doesn't get hurt, he could even win that thing. And then you still have Roman Anthony in that class as well. This is going to be a really important year for both Roman and Nick. But I would lean Nick just because of the ballpark he plays in most of the time. And you just got to think eventually he's either going to figure out that leadoff role and just mash balls, or he'll move back to a 3-hole and do his thing.
Yeah. And like all A's players, there's so much attention on the Boston, New York corridor over there. He's still largely ignored,
East Coast bias.
Yeah. And it's a real thing. I mean, we would pick any era of the A's being good, And if you watched ESPN, you'd be like, there's the Yankees, there's the Red Sox, there's the Braves. And then the A's had more wins than all of them, and they would get 2 minutes, and it just always happened where they would just bury them at the bottom. And so, yeah, Kurtz, man, as much as we're excited about Anthony, Kurtz is going to be a monster. I'm looking forward to the season. I'm bullish on the A's. Also, I'm bullish on Seattle. Like, even if Raleigh regresses, he's still going to be a catcher that catches 130 games. And there's not many things more valuable than that with that bat. Oh my God. So he has surplus greatness. So if he loses some, he's still going to be MVP grade for sure, unless he gets hurt. But I'm excited about those guys. I'm excited about baseball. I can't wait to see it. I want to see Langoliers also get the acknowledgement he deserves because he was fantastic last year. And if he's the fourth best player on that team, oh man, go check out his WPAG by game, the 0.14 number. Check that out, and you'll be like, look at the guys around him. Jesus Christ! I mean, he's incredible. He played so great last year, and I just think he's going to have another year just like that. I don't see regression for any of those guys really. And more Kurtz is better. What we want is more Kurtz, more Wilson. Maybe we can get a little bit more. I don't know. I don't want to put too much pressure on Law Dog because he is definitely. Like Severino, his head's got to be in it. And when it's not, you're like, man, how did we get his head in the game? That's Kotze's job.
And Lawrence hasn't even played at all in spring yet. Tomorrow is actually his debut. So he'll DH tomorrow, and then they'll get him in the outfield on Wednesday. So we'll see if he's even ready for opening day. My guess is he will be. But, yeah, he's a guy where post-All-Star break last year was not very good. So this start for the year for him is really important just to get off on the right foot. And, again, a lot of guys in that outfield, man. If it doesn't work, we have guys in the wings waiting to take your spot. So, again, competition breeds greatness. That pressure's gonna make diamonds. So we'll find out who wants to be a diamond.
Anything else before I wrap this up? I love that we started with Mike Hass. All the way back to you now at the end here. What do you want to close with?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about some of my favorite things today in all time. I mean, Mike Hass and the A's. I can't really – it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, next thing we can talk about is steak, I guess. But, yeah. Boys, thank you so much for getting me on here. This has been a blast. And I know we're still very new. On Lawn Green is very new. But if you're looking for a baseball team to hop on the bandwagon, the A's, this is a good time to do it before we get good. Hop on board and hop on All on Green, and we'll take you for a ride, boys. And thanks again for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's been fun. And, yeah, go A's, go Beavs. Absolutely.
All right. Okay, we'll be. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and these guys won't probably, but that's all right. We'll have another baseball episode soon. But I'll see you all later. Have a good night, everybody. And fellas, I say goodbye to you in a second.